Are we on? Okay.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Again, if you can hear us, please have in the chat window on the right-hand side. I'll wait a few minutes to see, make sure we get some audio feed. Good. All right, I'm getting some feedback. Okay, good. So I got Sydney and Mac up here with me running the back channel. So, all right, good morning. Welcome to the Virtual Technology Coordinators meeting. This is our first stab at this, so please excuse any issues we may have or technical issues. We're trying this for the first time. I hope this is a better way for us to meet with you. We are recording this session, so you will view it at a later time. I will also put it out in the principal packet. All right. So the first step, so there's our agenda for today, the virtual, the inventories and the surveys that we do at the end of the year, Google Classroom assignments, your state monitoring notebook, the new technology course of study that Mark's going to talk to you about, standardized test preparation, and then any questions. All right, let's go ahead and get moving. All right, so I have created the links on here. I will also send emails out with the links and directions, but you actually have links here to the inventory, which we do every year. See if I can click on that link. Yep. So this is the inventory we're going to use for this year. You're going to select your school, your enrollment count, your name as a technology coordinator, and then I broke out this year because the State Department's inventory actually has it broken out between desktops and laptops. So I have desktops in classrooms and laptops in classrooms. All viable machines are Windows 7 and Windows 10 only. Please do not add any XP machines if you have any left on this inventory. The computers and labs, your computers and libraries, the number of computer labs you have in your school. That's been very useful for us because we're getting ready to do some E-rate upgrades again. So that's an accurate number has been helpful. The number of classrooms you have in your school that are being used as classrooms. The number of network printers, the number of standalone printers, which are connected to USB, digital cameras, video or still, and the number of document cameras. That does not matter what model. It could be a hover cam, it could be an Elmo, so it doesn't matter what model it is as long as a document camera. And then the number of computers in administrative offices, Windows 10 and Windows 7 only, please. And then under tablets or mobile devices, Chromebooks, any Android devices, iPads, Windows tablets, and the number of tablets or mobile devices that are in the administrators use. And then under interactive boards and projectors, so you have Smart, Promethean, interactive projectors. And then I added a question this year is number of projectors not attached to an interactive board. So if you have a projector that's shining on just to a screen or shining on to a whiteboard or something, that I need that count too. And then the number of interactive touch panels, no matter the model. So this is due by May 11th, 2018. And then I also have the teacher survey set up, where you have for your tech plan for next year. So I have the teacher survey and the administrator survey set. So if you click, I will actually send directions on this. So if you need to send the directions out to your teachers, but I wanted you to see they were here. You will click on the link and then select your school and then go through the survey. About halfway through this, I will go ahead. You can we'll talk about you sending me email, and I will go ahead and send how many teachers or administrators have done the survey. All right, Google Classroom assignments. I still have some people who have not turned in their SIPA, their tech plan budget, or their Google Mail training certification. In the Pony today, 27 technology plan approval letters went out. Those are the ones that were in Google Classroom. If they are not, they need to be in Google Classroom. So please make sure you can take a picture of the forms with your phone and upload them in. It just needs to be in digital format. We're trying to go to an all digital way to archive our files, and this is the best way we came up with right now. So please, I need digital copies of all of these. If you have not done that, please do that as soon as possible. SIPA is most important, because if I get audited by E-Rate, I need to be able to prove that that was done. So if you have not done that yet, please go ahead and get that complete. I'll be out visiting schools if I don't get those in the next couple weeks. All right, your technology state monitoring checklist. We will be monitored the first week in May. So right here on your screen is what needs to be in your in your folder, your tech plan, your way of tracking inventory, your SIPA lesson plan certification, the location of the student AUPs, the location of the staff AUPs. How are you using technology to promote parental involvement? Evidence that the K-8 technology course of study is being implemented. This needs to be lesson plans and student samples. I shall be out collecting evidence for my folder from school, so please have that ready. Remember, technology integration needs to be done either in the computer lab or in the regular classrooms, or a combination of both. Any technology PD the schools have done, you need to have those sign-in sheets in your notebook. And then evidence of teachers and administrators using technology. We'll be out looking at those pretty soon. All right, so I'm going to turn it over to Mark for a minute, and he's going to talk to you about the new course of study that was approved a week and a half ago by the State Board of Education.
Hi, everybody, and you're not going to see me. You'll just see me clicking some links. In fact, I'm going to get out of this real quick and come back to it. Last week, or 2 weeks ago now, the State Board of Education approved the new technology course of study for the state. It's called the Digital Literacy and Computer Science course of study. And this means that everybody crossing the stage, once it's put in place for graduation, will have written code. We're going to start with some computer science basics as early as kindergarten. In the early grades, it's going to be primarily digital literacy things. And then as we move on into 9-12, it's going to be more computer science-based activities. So to find the course of study, now I do not know if MPS is going to make this happen for the 18-19 school year. It has to be implemented by the 19-20 school year. So to find these courses of study. Let me find the tab. I looked up Alabama course of study on Google, and that will take us to a State Department of Education website. And if you'll notice right here is the Digital Literacy and Computer Science tab. This is the final draft. This is the entire implementation of it. It's PDF. It's long. It's 77 pages. It's long for a course of study, we've been told, but we were told to be aspirational. I'm going to get into the framework. Here is our graphic that we've used to plan everything out. And if you'll notice that over the course of the 12 years, there's going to be more and more computer science for every student. So I'm going to just show you how it's broken down real quick, and we'll go into elementary. For each grade, K-8, there will be an overview of the content strands and topics. There'll be the recurring standards that should be addressed every year. According to the law, a course of study cannot have the same standard year after year. So we pulled some of these things like assess the validity and identify the purpose of digital content that was showing up for every grade band and for every grade level. We pulled them out as recurring standards, so they're listed here each time. And then we'll see the standards for each grade. Computational thinker, for example, at the early ages, they'll be able to create and sort information into useful order using digital tools. Very easy stuff. There is going to be a little bit of a transition, however. We realize that not every teacher is going to be ready to implement this. When we get to 9-12, especially, and pardon me for scrolling by so quickly and confusing, here we are at 9 through 12. It's for across the curriculum. So there is no one class for this. I realize that which belongs to all of us belongs to none of us. So that's going to be an issue, we know. And some of these standards are not going to be something, for example, I was a social studies teacher. Some of these things I could easily integrate into a social studies class. Some of these things are going to be more difficult to do so. For example, summarize the role of compression and encryption in the modifying of structure of digital artifacts and the varieties of information carried in the metadata of these artifacts. That's really techy to expect it to be implemented across the curriculum. So we don't know what the board's going to do as far as the requirements. They might put some of this on to the career tech side so that they are implementing it. There's been talk about making a computer science a required science class for all graduates. We're not quite sure how that's coming down. But as soon as MPS says these are adopted for MPS, which, like I said, has to be by the 1920 school year, this is going to be for everybody. So just bear that in mind. There's going to be a few things that will be done to help implementation. The ALEX website is going to unpack these standards. And what that's going to mean is it's going to take the standards and align them to ALEX lesson plans. So if you have a teacher that has no idea how to implement some of these, there'll be some suggested lesson plans. They'll be tied directly to a standard, and they'll be available for teachers to use and modify for their own purposes. There is also a website. Now, in our presentation back here, we give the long Google Sites version. If you go to the ALEX website and just, instead of alex.state.al.us, change it to alex.state.al.us/DLCS, Digital Literacy Computer Science. And that will forward you to the Google site. So once again, that was alex.state.al.us/DLCS. There are two people that are being tasked with keeping these sites updated, adding resources, adding links. So you're going to find more and more here. If you are going to be at the AETC conference this summer in Birmingham at the BJCC. There are going to be breakdowns for each grade level and grade band. There'll be a K2 3-5 session. There'll be a 6 through 8 session, and then myself and Dr. Jeff Gray, who some of you know, and Roy Black from LAMP are going to be leading a session on the 912 standards. So there's going to be lots of push for professional learning to see these hit the ground. But the governor is really excited about it. Last week I was at the governor's conference on computer science education. We're actually trying to take the lead in this. So these are, like I said, aspirational goals, but because we were aspirational when we crafted them does not mean that students aren't going to be held to them. So as time goes on, look for professional learning opportunities with these. If you've got questions about where you can find some resources, feel free to email me, mark.coleman, mark.coleman, and I'll be glad to help any way I can. Let me check. Sydney, do we have any questions on this stuff? All right, this other stuff. All right, I'm going to turn the presentation back over to Steve. And like I said, email me if you have any issues.
All right. As you know, we got standardized testing starting in a few weeks. I think April 3rd is the first date of the ACT plus writing, and April 9th, I believe, is the first performance series. I talked to David Norris this morning. We are in the process of getting our data together from your form, to go ahead and start pushing out the software for performance series and ACT plus writing using the data that you gave us. If you're going to use a Chromebook, we are going to go ahead and push out both programs to all Chromebooks. So that won't take very long for us to do. Just copy and paste it in the Google admin and we'll push it out. Make sure your computers are on. So this does not happen like an overnight. Make sure your computers are on. So during the day, and then hopefully during the before testing, we will go ahead and send out a list of rooms that we actually confirmed to install, and then I will have the software located on our Google Drive, where you can go ahead, if something did not work, you can go ahead and load it. We will also be using generic logins. There'll be one generic login for testing. I will send it out to you before testing. That was what we will use for performance series and for ACT plus writing. So that will only be active during the testing period. Also, we will be out to support you during testing. We will be out. We will sort of divide and conquer or be in centrally located places. So if we need to come and help you or assist in an issue, we will be there. All right, any questions? I'll give you a few seconds to type any questions in the chat window if you have any, and Sydney's monitoring that for me. And Mac, so.
Will the building test coordinators have this information? So they won't.
We can go ahead and send, when I send information out to you, I will also send it to the building test coordinators also. So the question was, why will the building test coordinators have this information? I will go ahead and send it to both technology coordinators and building test coordinators also. Okay. Also, we are sort of in the planning stages of summer PD. So we will have some PD classes here in our labs, probably dealing with the new course of study and probably Google and some other things. Hold on, another question.
Yeah, when do they need to leave the computers on the laptops?
I would just leave them. I mean, I would just make sure, David, next couple of days, I would go ahead and make sure if you're using laptops and you had laptops that were on your form, please go ahead and have those on. So I'd just say I'd leave them plugged in and start doing that. Laptops may be harder to do that, may need to be a manual install. Okay, again, summer PD, we're gonna plan some summer PD here, and then and we will probably have a couple of days of tech camp like we usually do. So I will go ahead and get those dates to you as soon as I know, as soon as we have hammered down some dates. Any other questions, Sydney? Okay, all right. Well, I want to
Simon sheet in the presentation.
Pardon? Yeah, it should have been. It should have been. They should register an STIP. Yeah, you register an STIPD. Your their number should have went out to with the packet of this session. The number should be there, so you need to register. Do you have a link for the?
Sydney, it's in another slide, right?
It's in the next slide.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. And then that is the link to the sign-in sheet where you can go ahead and sign in and get credit for being here this morning. I really do appreciate the time that Mark and Sydney and Mac took to get this together, and this is our first endeavor in this, and we'll probably be looking for some feedback from you, positive or negative, to see if this is something we want to do in the future. Actually, this is a lot better because right now our parking lot is full, so parking would have been an issue. So I'll probably asking for some feedback in a little while to see if this was worth your time and worth us doing this again in the future. But again, this will be out for you to review. I will also put the link in this to the principal packet for your principals to view if they need to, and then we'll be good to go. So I appreciate y'all for your time, and have a great week. Thank you.
Go away. Well, first, I'm going to leave that up for a few minutes.
Sure.
Just leaving this up for a couple of seconds before I kill it, so everybody get this URL: goo.gl/d w capital B 3 little s capital A. Take a picture of it if you need to. And this presentation should be archived at the same link. So if you need it again, you can just click the link or send the link, and someone should be able to see it. Yes. The presentation has already been shared with you.